Welcome everyone to the 7th Knowledge Sharing Forum hosted by WAPS. Today we have a packed agenda with 3 distinguished speakers from 3 different countries to talk about AI and productivity, seizing opportunities amidst emerging challenges. I am your moderator, Lun PENG, and I am also a fellow of WAPS. Since we are talking about AI, the graphics on this slide were generated by OpenAI's DALL-E, a large language model. So here's the overall agenda. We have roughly 90 minutes, and we're going to start with some opening remarks from the WAPS leadership. Then I will ask the speakers to introduce themselves. Before the speakers present their insights, I will share some statistics to set the context. And after the presentations by the speakers, we will have about 30 minutes to have a panel discussion. So please feel free to start posting your questions in the chat. You can also unmute yourself during the discussion. Finally, we will have some closing remarks from the Knowledge Sharing Forum's organizing team. Without further ado, let's hear from Mr. CHANG, the president of WAPS. He is based in China. He is not here. He cannot make it to the event today, but let's hear his voice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chang, president of World Academy of Productivity Science, WAPS. WAPS is the academic division of World Confederation of Productivity Science, WCPS. Established in 1969, WCPS is a think tank with its headquarters currently located in Montreal, Canada. WAPS's vision is to become the premier global body for the promotion and development of productivity towards achieving worldwide collaboration and sustainable growth. Our mission is to create, enhance, and disseminate the body of knowledge for global productivity through WAPS's worldwide network. Knowledge Sharing Forum, KSF, was introduced by WAPS in 2022 as an online learning program focusing on United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. KSF provides a forum for sharing knowledge and experiences, best practices, and future trends by academicians, thought leaders, subject matter experts, industry leaders, government officials, and fellows of WAPS around the world on productivity-related topics, challenges, and issues.
All right, without further ado, let's hear from Anita Tang, VP of WAPS and one of the organizers of the Knowledge Sharing Forum. Anita.
Thank you, Leon. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the 7th Knowledge Sharing Forum. Again, my name is Anita Tang, Vice President of the World Academy of Productivity Science. Since the introduction of this forum in 2022, as Mr. Chen just told us, we have successfully hosted 6 past events. Today is the 7th with artificial intelligence and productivity as theme. And I can assure you that in this 90-minute session, there will be filled with intelligence. So without further ado, I'm passing the mic back to Leon, who is today's event moderator and who will in turn bring forward our 3 speakers. Leon, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Sure. And Anita, I was hoping that you would actually explain the voice of Mr. Chen was actually generated by AI. Mr. Chen is from China and he cannot speak English. So we used an AI model to generate his voice. And this is the 2nd time we did it.
But the thing though, it's I am getting so used to Mr. Chen speaking in English in his Chinese voice that it became like, oh, it's real him.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Anita. Next, I will ask the speakers to introduce themselves, not in any particular order. Dr. Michael Shefford, and Dr. Michael Shefford is a fellow of WAPS. Mike.
Thanks, Leon. So there's my introduction to the CV there. My particular interest has always been in information retrieval, that is text from large unstructured data sets. And through that, that has branched off into a number of other things, such as electronic news, smart cities, personalization, and so on. After I stepped down as the dean and professor of computer science, I was very fortunate that I was able to work with people in India at the Myra School of Business in Mysuru, India. And I found that this goes back a long ways for us, because I was actually spent a term as a graduate student 50 years ago in Bangalore. And Bangalore then was not the IT center it is now. It was considered a great retirement city for Indians. And I went there and studied at the Indian Statistical Institute. But now I'm looking at productivity. I'm a WAPS member, and I'm looking forward to this panel with my other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So next, I want to welcome Cathy. Before Cathy introduces herself, I want to just emphasize that Cathy and I had 1 year of overlap when we were graduate students at MIT, and that was 20 years ago. So I've known Cathy for 20 years. She co-authored a book, How to Lead in Data Science, which is used by the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. She is kind enough to get her publisher to offer a discount on the book, and we will share the promo code later. Cathy.
Excellent. Thank you, Leon. As I will be, I also have a slide in my presentation that talks a little bit about where I have come from, but I will share a little bit now. So I started my career in hardware circuit logic design for microprocessors. And then at that time, things or techniques and technologies like library design and ASIC design had started to become good enough. And a number of us got very concerned because we were thinking going into the future, our jobs were going to be replaced. And that was when 20 years ago, I went back to school and studied business and went all the way into software, business development. And then after a while, naturally transitioned into data and artificial intelligence. A friend of mine who was, I think he was number 12 at the company called Cloudera, he made a mention that hardware is commoditized, software is open source. Where's the value? It's in the data and it's in the artificial intelligence. So I thought that's kind of neat that he summarized the evolution of technologies that way. And I really look forward to today's discussion on artificial intelligence and productivity. And my book, How to Lead in Data Science, it's not, we didn't start out writing a textbook. We wanted to share our experience so that others reading it could take the experience in it and get to what they do well faster. So in a way, that was our AI or our intelligence for others to benefit from. And it is also used as an onboarding book for multiple companies as employees start their journey in this field. So we will talk more shortly. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Cathy. And last but not least, Lun PENG from Beijing. And thank you again for joining at such a late hour. So please.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, Cathy, you just mentioned your experience. Actually, that is exactly the same as what I did in the States. Yeah, I was doing the electrical engineering, and it's really hard to get a job from the electrical engineering, not like NVIDIA, how hard it is for GPU, CPU nowadays. So I went for computer science and then started working as an engineer. So start in 2009, I was doing lots of engineering job in the States. And I started my career with the fintech. At that point in time, people call it payments. So we were the initial person which launched the Apple Pay, Google Pay, kind of like a tokenization solution in the States. And yeah, in 2019, because at that point in time, we feel, oh, some kind of like from application level, the innovation is hard in Asia Pacific, especially in China or so forth. So I went back to China from States in 2017 and joined Alibaba Group. And during that time, Alibaba Group was like doing lots of innovation from the QR code perspective, enabled lots of payment methodologies from the QR code. So I joined Alipay, and then I was actually living in Australia and New Zealand for roughly around 3 years to work with their local banks to get the all this kind of like a QR code innovation by all those bankers from the further down the ocean of south part of the earth, right? So yeah, and in 2019 I went back to China because of family, all kinds of reasons, and we started to looking at the industry, which is this Chinese companies which are looking at going overseas, right? Not only for Alibaba or Alibaba.com, there are lots of e-commerce websites, gaming companies, hardware companies, different ways. So starting with doing lots of like a fintech solutions, and then turns out to be I joined Google and working for Google to help those companies to expand their marketing in the States, in Europe, and in South Africa, etc. Right, in different worlds. So, and especially during my roughly around 3 years with Google, we started picking up lots of AI adoptions besides digital marketing or fintech related things. And that's why I'm here. And Anita and Leon was talking with me whether we can share something on AI. And I'm just thinking the best way we can do is from the application level, how we can help people from the productivity, what kind of things we may be interesting for some of you guys today. So I really look forward to talk further with you guys in the next, I would say 1 hour or 45 minutes. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thank you, Lun. So before I ask the speakers to present their slides and their insights on AI and productivity, I wanted to share a few statistics to set the context. So this chart shows the productivity growth from the early 1980s through 2018, roughly 1 year before the COVID pandemic. Now, if you look at the mid-2000s, since then, productivity growth in advanced economies started trending downwards through the financial crisis. But during the same period, the productivity growth in the emerging markets actually went up. After the financial crisis, there was a short-lived spike, but in the 2010s, in both the advanced economies and emerging economies, productivity growth were trending downwards. So this raised concerns amongst researchers, economists, and policymakers, and even WAPS. We had a discussion, I think, in 2021 on this topic, and what could we do about it. After the COVID pandemic started, we saw a glimmer of hope. In the United States, for example, the labor productivity growth went up to around 6% between Q2 of 2020 and Q1 of 2021. That prompted Eric Brynjolfsson, a Stanford professor, and his colleague to publish an article in the MIT Technology Review in June of 2021. So I want to point out that Eric used to work at MIT when I first met him, but by 2021, he was leading the Stanford Digital Economy Lab. Now, the authors said in the article that, I quote, "This is not merely a blip, but rather a harbinger of better times to come, productivity surge that could match or surpass the boom times of the 1990s, end quote. So they attributed their optimism to several factors. Among those, of course, the advancement in AI and a compressed timetable of restructuring digital innovations such as Zoom thanks to remote working induced by COVID. However, their optimism turned out to be premature. The quarterly productivity growth actually dropped right after they published their paper, and it was hovering around plus and minus 2% throughout the end of 2023. But despite the low productivity growth throughout 2023, things changed with the launch of ChatGPT in late 2022. Of course, generative AI caught the world by storm. Here are some of the bold predictions by pundits and, of course, consultants. Goldman Sachs, Gen AI technologies could contribute to a 7% increase in global GDP, equivalent to nearly $7 trillion, and boost productivity growth by 1.5% over the next decade. McKinsey, generative AI could improve labor productivity by 0.1% to 0.6% annually through 2040. Gen AI-powered work automation could add 0.5% to 3.5% to annual productivity growth when combined with other technologies. And Ernst & Young, Gen AI was expected to have a significant impact on the economy, potentially adding $650 billion over the next decade and increasing real GDP by 2.5% by 2033. With that in mind, and without further ado, let me invite Mike to share his insights. So what I'll do is I will stop sharing so you can start sharing from your computer.
Okay, so I'm Professor Emeritus from Dalhousie University in Halifax, Canada, and a fellow of WAPS. Now, what I'd like to do with speaking to an international audience, a lot of people don't know where Dalhousie University is. It's not a big university, about 22,000 students, but it's one of the U15 or top 15 research universities in Canada. And it is in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which kind of hangs off the east coast of Canada. When I retired, we decided that we'd like to be near water, so we moved across the country to Victoria, British Columbia. So now I'm looking at the Pacific Ocean instead of the Atlantic Ocean. So that gives you a little bit of context of just where I'm speaking from this morning. When I looked at I was asked to participate in this forum, one of the things that came up in my mind is, do I talk about generative AI, or do I take a step back and look at how current AI methods and technologies can apply with regards to productivity? So I took this sentence from the knowledge sharing forum description, examine how AI reshapes productivity landscapes across various industries. And I thought what I would do is showcase smart agriculture within the context of the WCPS dimensions of productivity. Now, when we talk about this dimensions or pillars of productivity, WCPS, to be sustainable in the long term, organizations, nations, regions, is not all about economic productivity or labor productivity. It's about social, environmental, and economic productivities, so that operations are socially equitable, environmentally bearable, and economically viable. And there's a one-line description of each one of these taken from the WCPS websites. Now, what they do is they come together, and this is the Venn diagram showing how they all interact. And what we really want to do is, if we really want a sustainable organization, whether that's a company, a province or state or a nation, you want to be sustainable. And you should really be looking at all three: social productivity, environmental, and economic productivity. Now, what's interesting about this is that this Venn diagram is certainly not unique at all. I've experienced this or run into it when I was working with smart cities. For sustainable smart cities have exactly the same Venn diagram, only some of the wording is a little bit different, because in the middle, instead of just sustainable, is of course sustainable smart cities. When I was working with someone at the National Research Council of Canada, he was developing new materials for construction. In the construction industry, they have what they call the triple bottom line for sustainable buildings, exactly the same Venn diagram. So WCPS looks at this a little bit more generically, whereas sustainable smart cities, sustainable buildings look a little bit more focused, but it's just exactly the same idea, that you want to be able to function, not just economic productivity, but environmental and social as well. So in the agricultural productivity, what I want to look at here is move fairly quickly into sustainable. The agricultural productivity measures growth, inputs for agricultural output, and sustainable agricultural productivity growth advances, and this is taken from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's definition, advances social, environmental, economic development objectives to provide food security for current and future generations. Now, to have smart agriculture, we're really looking at including AI in the Internet of Things, these more advanced technologies. And the chief concern driving this is food security. Food production must increase by 70% by 2050 to keep pace with global population growth. There are two ways of doing this. One is being more efficient and effective in producing food, and that's where the smart agriculture idea comes in, using advanced technologies. Or we have to put 70% more land under cultivation, and that's just not possible. So I think it's really important to realize that the AI technologies may be the path to reaching our food security. Now, I'm not going to be talking about generative AI in this talk. AI itself has been around since the 1950s, so we're talking about 70 years worth of development. And what I want to do is emphasize the fact that right now, from a report from the International Monetary Fund, 40% of global employment are already exposed to some form of AI. It's more in developed countries and less in the developing countries, but overall, 40% are already exposed to some form of AI. Now, we have AI powered drones can be used for monitoring. Drones that are equipped with cameras, using AI algorithms that can monitor crop health, detect early signs of pests and diseases, and seed the fields. Harvesting machines using computer vision automatically detect the right fruit, and this is great because it's actually strawberry season right now in British Columbia. I think those are strawberries, I'm not sure. Anyways, harvest them with precision, sort them based on size, color, and quality. Here we have irrigation systems. They use soil moisture sensors, weather forecasts, crop water requirements to adjust timing and amount of irrigation automatically. These are AI techniques that have been around for a number of years, but if we bring them all together, then we can start having more efficient and effective use. Now, one thing I'd like to emphasize, those 3 slides I just showed really have more to do with the production side, that is the economic productivity in smart agriculture. but it also has a direct effect on the environment. With regards to resource efficiency, using these techniques, it optimizes water and fertilizer use, minimizes runoff and leaching into nearby water bodies, improves soil health using soil sensors, GPS machinery, monitor and manage soil health more effectively, leads to better soil conservation practices, improve soil fertility over time. We can reduce greenhouse emissions, and so on. So smart agriculture not only can increase the productivity, the economic productivity, that is, increase the amount of food produced, but also can have a positive effect on the environment. Agricultural cooperatives. Small farms are being bought up by large agricultural companies that can afford to invest in smart technologies. So if you have some of these very, very large agricultural companies, what they can apply AI techniques to increase their food production, which can have a positive effect on the environment. But looking at the social aspects of it, for small farmers can come together and to form agricultural co-ops, and by this increases their own productivity and increase yields, and the co-ops are large enough to invest in the technologies as well. So the co-op members help each other share the risks, exhibiting social productivity. There are over 1.2 million agricultural co-ops worldwide. They're not all smart. It's actually a relatively small number out of that 1.2 million. But the idea is that we can have agricultural co-ops, and we can form sustainable agricultural co-ops. Sustainable agricultural co-ops hit all three pillars of the sustainability Venn diagram. They provide social productivity, that is, smaller farmers uniting and working together. Environmental productivity, because there's less impact on the environment. And economic productivity by increasing yields. So sustainable agricultural co-ops, again, come back, and this is, again, the WCPS Venn diagram for sustainable productivity. Now, as I said before, AI has been with us for over 70 years. Most of these technologies that I showed on the slides, these are not new. They're being used in smart agriculture, but they're definitely AI techniques, but they're not new. But we have to deploy more of them. So AI-driven technologies have the potential to transform the agricultural industry to meet our current and future food security needs. And the food security is really a very, very important aspect of it. As I said in an earlier slide, we have to increase our productivity by about 70% by 2050 in order to secure our food capabilities for our current and future generations. And so at that point, I'll say thank you, and I can respond to questions at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Cathy, would you like to share your screen?
Well, thanks for the invitation to speak and to participate in the panel at today's AI and Productivity, Seizing Opportunities Amidst Emerging Challenges. So as Leon mentioned, my publisher has kindly offered a promo code that is not just for my book, but for all of Manning products, good until June 27th, and that is a code WAPS 24, okay? Hope you take advantage of that. So artificial intelligence and productivity opportunities and challenges. Similar to when the web was made public in 1993, that fundamentally altered history, AI companies are springing up across domains and industries. And what comes with that is organizations, states, countries, and the human race need to think about certain things. So in October of 2023, U.S. put out a executive order on the safe, secure, and trustworthy development and use of AI. And in May of 24, California Joint Summit on Generative AI, at the joint summit, the governor of California spoke at length about the importance of California leading the AI innovation. Those are just a couple of examples. Many are enjoying expediting and lowering the cost to produce quality work. And there are considerations with that. How might organizations update their standard criteria? And how might they decide what is okay and what is not okay to produce or use AI to produce? For example, companies like Clearview AI, in the book of Your Face Belongs to Us, that significantly boosted the productivity for law enforcement professionals. But what are the ethical issues that's involved with that? So here's something that you may not have experienced, but I have friends who are working on AI companies that's producing publishable marketing content using AI for companies and for individuals. Now, what they have noticed is citizen AI practitioners are using inferences freely. What that means is normally in the hands of a professional, they may not ask AI to say, what are the top 3 areas for us to go into based on this information? AI does not think strategically. It's not a person. So it will give you a list, but are we in a position to trust that inference? So how should decisions be made? And how should organization structures adjust? So this is actually a fairly extensive topic. When data science came into prominence about 10 years ago, there's significant debate about what kind of organization structure that would work best. So you have the distributed organization structure, and you have the centralized structure, and you also have the hybrid structure where data scientists, the professionals, can help different parts of the companies or organizations with proper use of data analysis and data science. So how should we think about that now? AI is part of a significant part of the picture. White collar jobs are more likely to be exposed to AI. I saw this on the Commerce government website of North Carolina, where it gave extensive examples of how this is happening. Now, I would argue that T-shaped professionals, which I will explain in a bit more, are better prepared for this AI productivity disruption. So these are just a few of the opportunities and challenges that are presented by AI and productivity. So that was about the topic a little bit, and this is about me. So I briefly introduce myself. So I am a co-author of How to Lead in Data Science, published in November of 2021, and it was not written with AI, as you can tell by the date of generative or date of AI and some ChatGPT availability dates. So there's a bit to be said about that, and we'll come back to that. I graduated from Carnegie Mellon and MIT, and I have built and led teams that parachuted into companies that address challenging and meaningful data and artificial intelligence needs. I have worked with companies that are centralized and distributed, with the teams in those companies that are both large and small in size, and all of them are betting their differentiation on data and AI. So as these are these are some of the organizations I either volunteer for or participated for. So this one is Wall Street Women's Alliance. And as Leon mentioned earlier, I'm on the board of Hong Kong U.S.T's business analytics program, as they are using How to Lead It in Data Science as a textbook for a required course. So AI opens up productivity opportunities. Let's kind of go back a little bit, and we are seeing a lot of things happening in the news, right? So there are claims of our AI is increasing business productivity in the customer service arena, procurement, recruitment process, et cetera, et cetera. There are 23 AI productivity tools to revolutionize your workflow, 8 of the best tools, 10 of the best tools. And then you have the productivity source in global economy most exposed to AI. And then, of course, you have AI to be using AI to be productive and efficient. Oh, okay, so we have a different concept here. And will AI boost productivity? We sure hope so. And companies often talk about adopting it both to improve productivity and efficiency. And we're seeing that across the board, both top down and bottom up. So with AI, what is impacted and who benefits? So I put 3 boxes here, and I'll go through each one. Now, this is pretty basic, but you have tasks that are repetitive, mundane, routine, and require little creativity or emotional input. Things like data entry, basic customer service, bookkeeping, etc. And this type of tasks they have been, and they are continuing to be automated by AI. You also have work that involves social interaction that will lead to better experience for both customers and workers. Things like data analysis, management consulting, financial management, and transportation, etc. In this type of activities, we are talking a lot about, they're getting a lot of assistance from AI. And then you have the work that people are beginning to worry about that involve creativity, innovation, intuition, and or nuances in decision-making. Things like problem solving, creatives, arts and writing, judging, research and engineering and healthcare. This is getting a lot of enhancement with AI, and some people are using AI a little too much to try to replace certain parts of it. And there's definitely consideration with that as well. So with these situations, we kind of look at how generalist and specialist and T-shaped talent do with this situation. And the argument here is dash-shaped talent, or those who are generalist, they are broad but no focus. Specialists who are focused but have incomplete coverage, they're not in as good of situation as T-shaped talent, which has a broad set of capabilities and depth of expertise in at least one dimension. We'll talk a bit more about T-shaped in a couple of slides. Now, AI's impact on productivity. So in How to Lead in Data Science, my co-author and I, we laid out the capabilities and virtues of a data professional in this T-era fan. So technology, execution, expert knowledge on the capability side. And this largely mimics or largely aligns with Drew Conway's Venn diagram that became widely known in 2010. And we added what's on the right. That's ethics, rigor, and attitude. This part continues to be important. What we're noticing is with AI and productivity gains, it's leading to some decrease or increase of the demand for the T part, for the T, technology, execution, and expert knowledge. For technology, because AI is here to help, the requirement for someone with his or her technology capabilities has reduced. So the barrier of entry has become lower. And same with execution. AI can pick up some of the slack. And with expert knowledge, we're noticing that is actually going up. So this is represented in the T-shaped individuals with their domain knowledge or expert knowledge. Now, how does expert knowledge affect productivity? Expert knowledge is a domain-specific insights that can be acquired through years of practicing in a domain. These insights include business opportunities, limitations, organizational structure challenges that can expand or reduce one's impact in a domain. Now, you can see that AI can help accelerate the experimentation process without helping one get the experience. Okay, so let this sit for a second. So this is effectively packaging what someone has learned through the years into a small package, and someone else can potentially digest and use that right away. So many can get access to the knowledge and known ways to apply more quickly. So this is a good thing. On the other hand, with tasks automated and work assisted, many are target getting the benefit of AI without experiencing the different failure modes. And that could be concerning, because what we can potentially have happen is, in the short term, there's a productivity gain. In the longer term, there is potentially a experience gap that forms. And because of that, because people haven't experienced failure modes, that may impact innovation. So innovation may stagnate and productivity may suffer. So back to the T-shaped talent, they are well positioned. The T-shaped talent who have a broad set of capabilities and depth of expertise in at least one dimension, they're well positioned because they can better leverage AI to quickly gain proficiency in other capabilities. Let me give you an example from How to Lead in Data Science. So here we have Brian, who's strong in framing problems and discovering patterns in data. He's unfortunately, he's not very comfortable pushing back on requests and lacks best practices in prioritization and communication. So instead of learning those things through trial and error, he can actually go and work on these two things: personal accountability, increase his personal accountability by applying a framework in ask the question behind the question, and he can better prioritize to bring in productivity gain with 3 models that will increase innovation and impact, refine with reach, impact, confidence, and effort, and alignment to data strategy. This is a talk or a discussion all by itself. But just as an example of how someone who is a T-shaped professional can leverage AI and leverage knowledge to quickly gain proficiency in other areas. So some food for thought. You may have seen this already. So Joanna, who is an author and video game enthusiast, had posted this in LinkedIn, and it went wild. I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so that I can do art and writing, not for AI to do my art and writing so that I can do my laundry and dishes. Now, this is interesting because I see the keyword here as want. I want my child to dress and bathe himself and do all kinds of things, but do I always get what I want? That's something that we have to think about. So what we want and what actually happens if we let the technology develop in a certain way is complex. Impact is going to be complex. And just as Fei Li was mentioning at the Joint California Summit in Generative AI, was saying that AI is already having huge impacts in the mundane tasks. It's affecting contact call centers in a positive way, especially for those who may be novice callers. It's amazing, and its impact is very complex. It's subject to a lot of analysis, research, forecasting, and good policy. It's not black and white at all. And there's a lot of discussions, as you can imagine, that people are talking about, well, let's focus on improving AI productivity in areas we want. Well, what are the areas we want? And are the areas we want the same areas that others may want? So from my perspective, T-shaped individuals are in a great position to in this evolution of technology, and it's time to get in T-shape. Thank you very much, and here's the code again. And I give the mic back to Leon.
All right, thank you. Fascinating, the T-shaped talent.
Let me see, I can stop share. There we go.
Okay, Lun, the floor is yours.
All right, let me first of all share my screen here. All right, just let me know if you guys can see my screen, then I will go ahead and start.
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think, yeah, first of all, I mean, really thank you for WAPS, Anita, Leon, and everyone from WAPS to invite me to join this session. And today, right, so my key focus for my presentation, I mainly focus on how we're gonna using the existing generative AI, which we call applied AI, to do different things. So I try to make my presentation more practical to show everyone what exactly is going on in the industry, from the apps, from different application or tools perspective. And to start with, I just want to quickly run through why this time, right? Since last year, late 2020, 22, this AI has become hot. Because if you remember the early 2010, right, people talking about this neural networks, which is deciding whether it's a cat or dog from this neural network algorithm, which is a hidden level to do some assumptions, and then turns out to be the output is a cat or dog to teach the AI how to do things. And which come to this category, right? We start with the idea with this artificial intelligence, which is using AI to mimic human brain. And then we have this machine learning, as like what Cathy just mentioned. The computer or the AI is actually learning from the data, and which we use this machine learning technology to do that. But at this phase, right, since last year, because of the transformer, all this kind of different algorithm coming in, so people call it Gen AI. So the Gen AI is mainly focused on the generative, and the generative is actually AI is actually learning a bunch of things, and then they can generate new contents, which come out to this one, right? So the traditional coding logic is actually you're coding like the programming way. You try to let the computer to do something for you, and then based on the neural networks, right, which is like you are teaching the AI, oh, this is a cat, this is not a cat. Then the AI knows, oh, this is a cat. But now with this Gen AI, is actually you're throwing tons of books to the AI, and then the AI just learn from it, and then they can, based on what you throw into this Gen AI with tons of books, they can start generating things. Instead of telling it's a cat, they will say a cat is something which is can climb and can work live with the human being, can be like your companion if you are somehow, right? So they can do more things on top of just saying it's a cat and not. And why this is happening is because of this transformer, right? The algorithm, which was actually published from Google, 8 scientists from Google doing this research and saying that, and with this transformer algorithm, it actually empowers the AI to learn faster and also to learn in the parallel way. And with that, although it's gonna kill more energy or more resources from the GPU perspective, but it's able to make the training of the AI easily and powerful. And that's why this time, this Gen AI can be used from industry level with different things. And here, right, so the main thing we just mentioned is when you throw tons of books, actually, we call it parameters. The more parameters you're actually giving to the AI, the smarter the AI is. the powerful the AI is, they can do more things beyond just doing simple cat or dog related decision making or decide those kind of things. They can do way beyond that. And that's why people call it this one, right? This time people call it large language model, right? So again, we giving this kind of like a timeline to show, right? So early 2000, people are using machine learning, this different thing to do some kind of make this computer smart. And then it's a narrow AI. We are kind of like start using Gmail, you're getting pushed by Google Ads, you're getting a Google Map to route through the way to your destination. And then it's a generative AI with OpenAI, with the Google Gemini, with Anthropic, different companies doing with different directions, but they are highly, highly focused on generative AI. And which recently it actually coming out with two directions. One is called essential AI, the other one is called the rational AI. Think about it, right? The most recent OpenAI conference, Greg Brockman, he did a demo, two AI actually talking with each other, know each other with two AI conversation. And then Google released a project called Google Project Astra, which is a camera is understanding the world with a car with different colors, which I think, maybe not I think, maybe someone think, right, it's the essential way of AI. It's actually the direction people are putting huge focus on. And from the other direction, which is the rational AI, is actually you are using the AI to do some research, to do medical things, to do something more seriously. That part, I think, is not really hot at the moment, but I believe those are the two directions the AI is going forward. But at the end of the day, right, everyone's called AGI. I think at the end of the day, it's a combination of those two will become as an AGI. Whether we will hitting that level or not, I think it's out of my knowledge level. But I just want to say this is currently how the Gen AI and the industry is moving forward with this kind of directions. And and then jump into my main topic, right? So I want to just quickly run through with different application level and what kind of things is hot recently. Maybe you can throw some ideas to everyone here, especially this younger 1995 or 2000 generation, what they are thinking about the AI and how that one, how Gen AI can help their life, right? Start with, right? So actually generative AI, even OpenAI doing this kind of like a communication level thing is actually generative AI is unlocking a world of creativities. Throughout Gen AI, they can write a better paragraph or better email for you. They can do a better design for advertisement, this kind of things. And beyond that, throughout the analytic and the predictive perspective, generative AI can do better job. If you see Google Map, right now with Gen AI enabled the traffic and they can do dynamic routing suggestions for you instead of just doing the traditional data, I would say data driven or say big data related things. And also this is kind of like some application level, right? So the first thing which is getting hot last year is everyone is saying ChatGPT. What ChatGPT does is conversational AI. You throw in some text and ChatGPT will give you a better results. Compare you going to Google, doing some research, search for the results and then come out with a solution. I think most of people right now is people start writing a minutes or writing an email, they will, at least for me or people around me, they're gonna start using ChatGPT and let ChatGPT double confirm the grammar, the language, everything before he send out those kind of things. And also, like Leo mentioned before the call, right? So if you want to prepare something like today's session as a moderator, maybe ChatGPT can help you to do something, which is the text-to-text models for this one. And people start looking, hey, if AI can do text-to-text, why not AI can do more beyond that? Which came out this text or image-to-image. On the right hand, there are different software which is very hot in the industry. I start with this middle one, it's Midjourney. Midjourney is a software which was launched in the Bay Area. So by simply telling the Midjourney software, the AI, right? I want to draw a rabbit, I want to draw a tiger which is running over the sea, not on the ground, something like that. Midjourney can, based on what you're telling them, to generate the image. So Midjourney is highly focused on leverage Gen AI to do creativity job. And on top of it, oh, Stable Diffusion is another company say, oh, you guys are doing this kind of thing, but we are doing more like workflow serious image generation. Stable Diffusion come out with an open source solution, doing something on top of Midjourney. And actually, Stable Diffusion did a huge contribution to this text or image generation thing from the Gen AI perspective. And on the top, there's some other things like if you have your selfie picture, you want to make it as a professional picture, or you want to make it as a cartoon animated picture. Those kind of like AI mirrors, just a different software can do. Another level of image generation is more like a user-focused image generation on top of it. So I think those kind of software right now is making huge, revenue from this kind of development. And then think about AI, right? So people think, oh, since AI can do image, why not AI can do music? And this software, Suno, is actually one of the software is hot in the market right now. You can simply tell the software, say, I want to build a song, which is maybe say is my daughter's 2 years old birthday. I don't want a happy birthday song. I want something different. Give me a lyric and also give me a nice song, which is for birthday wishes, something like this. AI can start doing this kind of like a creativity jobs, and then write a music for you. And then from text to image to music, what's next? I think everyone's going to think about it. Whether AI can do some video related things. And later last year, lots of AI startup companies start doing video generations. In this page, right? So I give two examples here. One company is called Pika. The other one is called Runway. And both of them actually are doing this text or image prompts into video solutions. And how Pika is getting famous, they are using Elon Musk's picture and build him on the Mars with a very nice cartoon movie. People saying, oh, with this, we don't need Disney. We don't need DreamWorks, those kind of companies. AI can easily making this kind of like animation job in a way more productivity ways, right? But at the end, people find out, oh, if you build like a 5 seconds movie, it's not a movie, it's like 5 seconds video, it's perfect. But if the video is going to 10 seconds or even longer than that, then people find out it's super hard, right? Even you see the most recent announcement from OpenAI, they do the Sora, still the same problem. It's hard to catch up all the features to get AI to understand all the features, especially from the video perspective. Sometimes people only with 4 fingers. Sometimes people are working with 1 leg left in the video. Lots of issues. But still, this is the direction actually the AI is going to. The AI is trying to understand people from the language, grammar perspective, and then image perspective, and then music, and then video. So they understand you and start working for you from this perspective. And from our application industry, right, people feel like this is right now, the AI is kind of like a 2 or 3 years old kid. They start observing the world, and then they can start saying, oh, dad, mom, this is the park is look like this. Park always got birds flying around with something like this. So that's the current stage of AI and the current applications, which is like making big impact in the productivity industry. And then moving forward, there are lots of like 2B and 2C related small apps, which I just happy to mention here. One is AI-powered workflow. NVIDIA has this AI-powered workflow to build application on top of their GPU. And there's a company called Notion, which is write, plan, and organize your daily works through this apps. It's called Notion, which is super hot right now in the States and globally. And then people are talking about, oh, if AI can do workflow, whether AI can help me on my daily jobs. Microsoft announced their AI Copilot to help you do Microsoft Office, Excel, Word, all this kind of things through their Copilot. Microsoft also launched one is a Minecraft Copilot. When you're playing a game, AI is actually playing with you together. You can talk with your AI and think about what's the best solution for this certain stage of the games from that perspective. And then people saying, oh, if I have a Copilot, whether AI can be an agent to help me throughout the way with 1 or 2 single tasks, right? And then lots of companies start jumping into this AI agent industry. On the right side, this is some examples, right? OpenAI released this version called GPTs, and it turned out to be not a very, very successful one at the moment. But there are a few other companies doing the similar AI agent solution, which is kind of okay at the moment. Poise, the company, came from the company called Quora, and the Codes, which is also an AI agent company, came from TikTok, ByteDance, their own company. They were doing this AI agent to help you to do 1 or 2 small tasks. Yeah. And then it's AI agent for gaming. Character.ai is the hottest one in the States. You can go to this platform, create different characters from AI, and you can talk to your characters easily through this AI models. And the talk is kind of like Asia Pacific version. So you can create your own virtual models and talk to them. And I think it's especially for people who is willing to talk and they don't find people to talk. Those kind of apps is getting hot. And also AI for education. In the States right now, there are 2 apps which is super hot. On the right side, the first one is question AI. So think about it. If you have a kid which is in the high school, they have some math or physics questions. You don't got time to help him on this kind of questions. Simply, you can throw this questions into question AI, and question AI can help you solve the question with detailed step-by-step solutions, right? And underneath the Duolingo, right, is starting with the language app. Right now, they have lots of AI features, AI to identify your English level and to help you improve your English or different language in the most efficient way. And they can also issue those kind of like AI education certificate to help you to bypass lots of like language tests. Yeah. And also AI for e-commerce. Cathy just mentioned he got a friend to do e-commerce, and actually all those kind of AI for e-commerce solutions is all over the world right now. You can ask the AI give you the best solution to buy the best coupons and the deals through those kind of buy smart AI platform. Shopify have this AI solution for e-commerce to help you on customer service, to help you to find the best deals and the shoes through Nike, Adidas, different brands. And also AI for creativity, right? As I mentioned, the creativity before, like Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, is like consumer-facing creativity. They are lots of SaaS, or say client to be facing creativities, right? On the top, this company called Creatify. If you have an Amazon or say TikTok shop link, you can simply place in the link into this platform. They can generate 15 to 30 seconds TikTok or say Snapchat short video for you by simply enter the link into it. And this DMO.ai is like, if you have a sofa or bed, you want to make it as a Craigslist version, but you want to make sure the image is super nice. People are going to call you. Use DMO. DMO can make your bed or secondhand bed or sofa like an Amazon style image, etc. Right? So many these tools to do that. And of course, with all this AI related things, they need a AI community. So people are having different ideas on doing different AI things. So there are companies doing this kind of AI community to help people to connect with each other together, right? Hugging Face is the AI version of GitHub. You can upload your AI code into it, and you can find other people what they are doing from their AI perspective. And the other one is like a prompt-based. If you don't know how to train your AI, go to prompt-based. They give you lots of solutions to train your AI in different ways. No matter it's the e-commerce or a virtual girlfriend or virtual boyfriend, there are different ways to train your AI. Yeah, so this kind of things. And and now if you can see, if you talk about AI, you think it's the early stage, but there are tons of companies doing different things in the industry. The whole world is doing all different things right now. I think as Leo mentioned, right, AI can contribute 7% of the global GDP or somehow in that way. From the real, I mean, I'm on the front line of all this AI things. We do believe maybe it's even more than that. It just depends on how much you are getting into this industry and how you look like people are jumping into this industry from different ways. Yeah. And if you think about it from the technical and architectural levels, right, how simple it is if you want to adopt some Gen AI solution. Google Cloud, Amazon Web Service provided like a full set of package for you to use this AI to do different applications, etc. And at the end, right, I think we don't really need to worry AI going to replace human beings. Think about the Excel or Microsoft Office, right? People are thinking, I'm going to losing my accounting job at that point of time. And then turns out to be Excel is actually helping you on your accounting job instead of you replacing you on your accountant job. So with this current AI, I think it's a multiplies. From the result perspective, it's going to drive your ROI with the better results. From the demand level, I think it just speed up or boosted the connection between humans and human or human and business. So you're going to drive new demands, create the actual GDP and the possibility, right? And also from the expertise perspective, I think it's going to augment your expertise and creativity instead of like replacing you. And that's pretty much my sharing today. And at the end, I just want to say, yeah, because of all this, we are actually building this kind of AI. It's kind of like AI social network thing to start with my own company. And that's all from my presentation. And here's my email. So from application level, if anyone have any idea to exchange, just happy to reach out to me through this email. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you, Lun, for the fascinating presentation. So I think we had three speakers, and Mike focused on the social, environmental, and economic impact on productivity from AI, and then Cathy looked at AI's impact on productivity from the perspectives of capabilities and talent. And then finally, Lun talked about the applications of AI. So we have roughly 15 minutes or so for discussion. So I have a lot of questions prepared, but I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask your questions. So please feel free if you have any questions, post the questions into the chat or unmute yourself and just ask your question. Don't be shy. If there are no immediate questions, so I have a lot of questions to ask you. So I think Mike, earlier you mentioned statistics, and you said something about 40% of the companies are actually using some forms of AI. So it's kind of very interesting. IBM published a global index. Essentially, IBM interviewed over 1,000 companies, mostly large enterprises worldwide. And what they found was about 40% of those large enterprises already used AI, in some form or fashion in their business. And another 40% of the companies were saying, hey, we would actually be using AI in the near future. We're already exploring AI technologies. However, the United States Census Bureau, they actually surveyed the overall American companies, not just the large enterprises, right? And they found only 4%, roughly around 4% of the companies at large are using AI in production. So that means a lot of the small companies, medium company, SMBs, they don't necessarily know how to use AI. So so this question is to all of the panelists, right? How can small and medium-sized enterprises leverage AI to boost productivity without the resources that more giant corporations have? Anyone wants to take?
Okay, I'll take a first stab at it. This is a real problem for small and medium sized corporations or companies. I know here in Canada, the productivity growth rate is actually declining and has been declining for a number of years because small companies do not seem to be able to adopt the new technologies as quickly as large corporations. And I don't know what the solution is there. I found that when I was the dean working with industries, bringing in research money for the faculty, found that in Canada we had a number of very large companies a number of very small companies, and we're missing that middle level of companies that could really use and adopt the new technologies. The very large companies were already doing it. The very small companies, all they wanted to do was keep their nose to the grindstone to keep their venture capitalists happy. Okay, so it is a real problem. And the statistic that I was quoting was not companies, but employment, people. Okay, they're exposed to it. So even in these companies which say that they're not using AI for productivity, the employees themselves are probably exposed to some type of AI. In the developed countries, the report was as high as 60%. Or globally, 40% are exposed. The employees are exposed to some type of AI. 60% developed countries, as low as 23% in developing countries. Okay, so the statistic, we're quoting different statistics. One was you're quoting on corporations, and I was quoting actually on employment, on people. But there's how to incorporate that for smaller companies is still a problem, because they still have to be productive and get their return on investment. And it's a difficult situation for small companies.
Cathy?
I'll add a little bit more. So, from my perspective, it's kind of interesting to see that while small and medium businesses don't necessarily have the same resources like the giant corporations, they often can be more agile. And smaller companies, as Mike was saying, that you can actually smaller companies can get employees to become proficient at leveraging certain tools like ChatGPT to significantly boost productivity relatively quickly. Now, medium companies is interesting. From my consulting days, what I noticed is that large companies have the resources, and they often may not be as quick in making decisions to engage help. Small companies often don't have the resources, but the medium companies are, they're at a good spot to potentially leverage help. And with AI boosting productivity, from a consulting perspective, they can produce quality work with those tools as well. And medium businesses probably have an opportunity to get that to work at a more reasonable cost as well. So that's just my thinking, that small can be more agile, medium can be more agile as well, and the medium probably have a good opportunity to get help at a more reasonable cost as well.
Great. Amelia, you raised your hand earlier, so I'll go to you first.
No, thank you so much to yourself. In actual fact, I was going to ask a very similar question to what you ended up posing. And it was related to how do we adapt to the challenges specifically for small businesses. I'm Amelia Naidu from Productivity South Africa. So I'm represented from South Africa. And what we are faced with, within South Africa is that we have majority small and micro enterprises. And we're just trying to figure out how do we now ensure that we're adapting also to the changing nature of work, but also the generations, now the new generation of the up and coming, from 97 is Generation Z. And we end up saying that, they are technology driven people. So the Zoomers, But how do we now try to adapt and adopt it within small businesses so that it also attracts the right people, but also to encourage entrepreneurship to a certain extent? And does it mainly apply to industries, or can we actually adopt, when we say apply to industries, in service industries, as opposed to majority of our manufacturers or small businesses in that kind of field? So that's why I just wanted to say thank you for the input as well from the previous speakers. I definitely got insight, but I do think we must explore this much more on the challenges being faced and how do we ensure that there's enough support. In South Africa, as a third world country, we don't get enough support, in specific areas as well, access to technology. But I think now using smartphones and so forth, we actually get more exposed than what we're expecting. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amelia. Harvey, you raised your hand.
Yes, thank you. And let me apologize in advance if this question's been answered. I'm a physician, and as it happened, I got called away on a bit of urgency, so missed part of the discussion here. But I want to reflect on what's happening in my area of medicine, where 2 or 3 things are coming together to make life very, very difficult for the people who provide care. The first is that we have a fragmentation of care around all these technologies, and people are becoming expert in technology, but becoming quite distant from the whole person they may be taking care of. Sort of the William Osler thing, doctors take care of diseases, physicians take care of patients. So that's the first thing that's going on. The second is that particularly if you look in the United States, but all over, productivity is measured in hospitals in economic terms, in the number of procedures done, and how quickly you move patients through. And the third thing is we're starting to be driven by algorithms in medicine. And the algorithms have shortcomings in part because of how they're derived. And there's a real fear of AI, on the one hand, being helpful, getting information. You go into the thing, an AI-derived source or UpToDate, which is now using AI, and you get current information, but you wonder about the quality of that. And you also wonder at the end of the day, in this whole mishmash of things, where is the holistic patient interaction going, and is medicine going to devolve into a series of technologic things that, if you will, leave the whole patient out? And when I talk to my trainees and others, in many ways, that's the biggest question. So I wonder if people have had a chance to reflect on that, or maybe you have while I was off taking care of a patient.
Lun, do you want to comment on it?
Yeah. I think Harvey, I'm totally agree with you. So I think since last year, right, people are thinking AI can do things from the physician, like you just mentioned. But I think currently at the current stage of AI, right, I think AI should behave more from the mental or from the central perspective. So AI can be the one who can talk with patients if her family member is not in the hospital, instead of AI giving all this medical formula, those kind of suggestions. Because I think from the serious perspective, AI need to have enough data. We need to do super alignment on the AI to making sure AI is not making any assumptions. With all this kind of thing, I don't think the current AI has got the capability to do that. Yeah. As I mentioned before, right, I think the current stage of AI, especially the Gen AI, you can treat at the early age of a kid. So if you ask a kid to do a treatment for you, it's going to be hard. But if you ask the kid to talk with you in the hospital, that's going to be a wonderful thing, right? That's what we think the current stage of the AI is doing. I don't know from other industry how we apply the AI, but I think most of the data thing we are doing is more about big data instead of generative AI. If you purely talk about the generative AI, I think I'm totally agree with Harvey's concern, or say Harvey's point, which I think is not at that stage right now. Yeah.
Cathy?
Thank you, Leon. Harvey, it's an area that's definitely worth a lot of consideration. One of the things that I come to time and time again with my colleagues is that generative AI, at least currently, it still doesn't work the way people work. It has no strategy. It'll give you a fake business process. It'll make decisions for you based on its data, but it has no strategy. And it's not a decision that we should follow blindly. And many people may, in many areas, it may be just fine to take AI suggestion or decision because it's going to be a flip of coin anyway. But in a situation of life and death and health, I don't think it's a good idea to have, similar to what Lun was saying, to have AI to talk about what treatment to do, but rather keep them in the situations where they do well, which is help improve the experience of the families and help improve the experience of getting to the hospitals and through the process, but rather not keep them out of the actual treatment decision-making process.
Great. Yeah, Mike, please.
Yeah, sorry. I'd like to, we're getting short on time, but in the chat stream, Andrew Downs had a very good question that I don't have an answer for, okay? The question from Andrew, if I can read this out loud, please. Can the application of various aspects of AI widen or reduce the productivity and development divide between developed and developing countries? And I think that's a great question, and I don't have an answer for it. So I'd like to just, I wanted to make sure that everybody, heard that. And maybe somebody can have an opinion on that, but at the moment, I don't have one.
I think the best answer is it depends.
Yeah, so I actually I just wrote a paper on AI and the productivity, and I came across some reports, some research, and I can go back and find the reference and send out that research after this event.
I would really appreciate that because it's a great question, and like I say, I don't actually have an answer for that. So if there is some work on that, I'd like to see it. Thank you.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we have to wrap up, and we also would like to take a photo. But before we do that, I want to introduce Remy Dairo, who is a member of the KSF organizing committee.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. It's awesome, having a discussion on the latest thing, AI and productivity. I have to just keep quiet and listen through because I've been battling with AI too, back end, doing a lot of stuff, and it's increasing my productivity, challenging, impacting, and all that. Thank you for all the speakers, for your dimensions and the perspective that you've given us. I want to appreciate the esteemed audience, participants who have also stayed long to this time to contribute, to learn, and to share together in this knowledge of productivity. All right, in wrap, because of my time, our next productivity discussion, which is going to be knowledge sharing discussion for next, is going to focus on diversity and productivity. Diversity and how does diversity affect productivity? I mean, it's going to be another topic that we're going to all come together to talk about. So if there's no much to talk about, can we take our pictures so that we can leave at exact time right now? All right, and I have everybody on their camera smile as I take the picture of myself. You'll be on the camera, so everybody be on camera and smile. Awesome. Thank you. Leon, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining this 7th Knowledge Sharing Forum hosted by WAPS. And as Remy said, we will have our next event on diversity's impact on productivity, and I hope you will join us next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Leon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. God bless.